right. So y'all have an observation sheet, all right, in front of you. 1 Timothy chapter 6. Kind of hitting it. Some of the ones in 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy are relatively easy to do, work through. Take 3 minutes, kind of the same deal. Observations, okay? You're just making observations. You're not trying to explain what the text means. You're not trying to explain what words mean yet. You're not getting into that yet, all right? So just write down what you're seeing, what stands out to you, words, lists, whatever you think, okay? Mind you, this is pretty subjective, and I think we saw that last week, okay? But anyway, take off. I'll give you 3 minutes. All right. What you got? What are we seeing? This is a command. Okay? Yes. So, did you notice one command or multiple commands? Several. All right. Here. Let's see. So, we've got commands in here. Is that too small? Anyway. Several commands, multiple. What else?
At the beginning of 18, the second command then is in italics.
Okay. What does that mean?
It's not the original. It's inferred.
It is inferred. And it is rightly inferred, though, still. But yeah, some of your translations, if you have an ESV, it just reads that they may do or let them do, I think. Forget, but it doesn't have, huh?
They are to do
They are to do. That's what it means. New American Standard also has command them. This is where, again, you remember, I don't know if Stuart got into it much, but in his class on Sunday mornings, different translations. This is just some stuff you'll see with different translations, okay? And you start getting to into different ones. Some of the translations have italicized words. All that means is it's not it's not in the original manuscripts, but the translators do us a favor, and they try to help us out with inserting something in there. It doesn't necessarily change what it means, okay? Although there are some instances where they, I would say, wrongfully do that. This is not one of those instances. Yeah, you have instruct, right? Or charge, yeah. It's all the same word. There you go. So you see different words too. So charge, New American Standard is going to read instruct.
Charge and command both are such strong verbs. It's
Mm-hmm.
tell them.
Mm-hmm.
But when we think of command and charge,
Yeah, very much. It is an imperative in the Greek. So it's not a suggestion, Timothy. Command them to do this. Okay. You said what in the New King? Let them. See? Yeah. Okay. So you see those different things, but we're noticing. Okay, there's commands in here. What else?
They're addressing a specific group.
Who's the group?
The rich.
Yep. So rich folk. Okay. What else? Got anything else?
you see what they're commanded to do. It says to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to spare. So that's three things right there.
Okay. So so we have so you have positive and negative commands in here. Those would fall under the positive commands. Those three things. So you have three positive commands. I think it was three. All right. Actually, there's more than that. There's four. Four, sorry. Forgot. Okay, what else? We'll talk through these. We're just making the observations. What not to be. Okay, yep. That would fall under one of the negative commands. Let's just put it as that. You have two negative commands.
You have a comparison between the uncertainty and the certainty of what God is.
Love it. Comparison with.
The outcome of something so that if they store up for the future, they can enjoy life today.
Very good. So we have outcome, uncertainty. What else?
You see the theme of rich, like we talked about. There's rich, riches, richly, rich,
Ah,
treasure.
so 4 different times there's something to do with rich. 4 rich words. That'd be something to note. That helps you formulate what it's talking about, what he's talking about.
It also kind of talks about two different kinds of riches.
Okay?
It's money and also the treasure in heaven.
Okay? 2 different kinds of riches. Good.
Who would these people be? I know they're wealthy, but would they who they have been?
Rich folk in the church at Ephesus. Rich people in the church at Ephesus, where Timothy is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole book is for. You go back to the purpose statement, 1 Timothy 3:15. To conduct, just drew a blank. So that you may know how one ought to conduct himself in the household of God. He writes. He says, in case I'm delayed, this is what you need to help these people understand how to conduct. So it's all about church conduct. It's all about church instruction. Everything to do inside the church. Timothy was an evangelist, so he worked in the church. He did all things church related. So he's handling some different groups. And this is one of the groups, right? He handles overseers in chapter 3. He handles deacons in chapter 3, women in chapter 2. Chapter 5, you get into widows. He's handling each group. This is just kind of falls in that right here at the end of the book.
Dylan, I see rich in this present age with the implication that if you don't keep these commands, you won't be rich in the next age.
Yeah, so there's some heavy implications there. Yeah.
I couldn't come up with a short word, implication,
Might you say eternal implications? Anything else? Carol?
Go with what he said, good foundation for the future.
Yep.
The foundation.
Foundation? Absolutely. Everybody sees different things, don't we? Okay? But it's just getting in the habit of looking at it, slowing down, and seeing it. How many times have you read this passage? Just curious, really. Lots? We'll address that in just a moment. But yeah, so when we kind of go back through those observations, now we can kind of start. Normally, you would mark those things up as you make those observations. We're just going to go back real quick and do those. Let's hit these. Let's see, command. Okay, command them to do good, rich in good works. This is a negative command. Command those who are not to be haughty or set their hope on the uncertainty of riches. Those are the two negative commands. Don't be haughty. Don't be prideful. Don't be proud, arrogant. This is what Timothy is to command the rich people not to be like, right? Sometimes rich people have a tendency to kind of look down their nose at folks, right? And be prideful sometimes. Just is what it is. So there's an instruction for those people, this group. But also for them to not set their hope on the uncertainty of riches. Rich people also have the tendency to put their hope on and in their money, right? They tend to put it on their possessions. They put it on the material things that they have acquired, and so that's where some of their hope lies, thinking that's what's going to sustain them. Kind of, I'm good to go. I've got all the money that I could ever want. Is kind of the approach, and that's what their confidence starts to be in their money. Do what? Yeah, same thing, like in Luke. Okay. Now, did you notice what he didn't say?
There's nothing wrong with being rich.
Got it. He didn't say that it's wrong for these people to be rich. And I think that's important to understand, right? Sometimes people think, as a Christian you can't have a lot of money. As a Christian you can't be rich. Well, that's not what he says. That's not the instruction that they can't be or that they should not be, or to give their money away. What he said was, here's the proper perspective for rich people and what they should have. That's what he's saying. Okay, but then you also have. Anybody notice something else right in the middle? What is it? Well, not.
And he said to do good, and to be rich in good works, and to be generous, and to be ready.
Well, yeah, there is that.
It was supplied by God.
Okay, there is that. What about, yeah.
Well, I was thinking about, God, God richly supplies,
Mm-hmm.
and because we're to be like Him, we're to be generous. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I saw.
Mm-hmm. So you do have generosity.
With all things to enjoy.
There's enjoyment. Okay? But notice this. This little word right here. See that? But. So do we have a contrast? Mm-hmm. We do. We have a contrast with the word but. Okay? What is the contrast?
Riches in God. Where your hope is.
So command those who are rich in this present age not to be haughty or set their hope on the uncertainty of God, or on the uncertainty of riches, sorry, but on what? But on God. Yeah, that's the contrast. Okay? That's where their hope needs to be set or fixed on instead of their riches, on Him. Why? Because ultimately, He's the one that richly supplies us with all things to enjoy. Okay? So don't put your hope in the riches. Put your hope on the one that richly supplies you with the riches. The one who's behind the riches, who's blessed you with those things. That's where your hope needs to be. Not in the material things. The one who's behind it. Right? Put your hope in that one. Now, that's also kind of a universal principle, right? Not just for rich people. Okay? Goes for everybody. This would be for all of us, not just the rich. We shouldn't have our hope fixed on any material things or riches. Okay, all of us should have our hope fixed on God. But that's not a touch screen. All right, so I want to keep kind of marking this up. Let's hit these. Command them. Do good. Mm-hmm. Be rich in good works. It's not doing a circle. Be generous would be one. I'm just going to be and ready to share. That's one.
A poor person should do the same, they probably just wouldn't do it in the amount that a rich person.
Sure. Yeah, and that's why it also applies. You've got the word foundation in here. You've got the word future. Sometimes, as you're marking up your text, you've got other words that tend to stand out. Like they kind of pop out, right? It's not words like is, or the, or may. You know what I mean? Those are pretty just generic words. Sometimes you've got words like foundation and future, enjoy. You want to kind of mark those too, just so you see them. Okay, it helps to it brings it. It kind of helps you to frame it all and see what he's talking about. You got the word life in here. Of course, God is mentioned once. Uncertainty is in there. Let's see. Let's hit these rich ones. Rich, there's one. Richly. I know. Riches, 2, 3, and then down here, rich again. There's your fourth. What else do I have up here? Yeah, words like haughty. Okay. Hope you could do.
Well, that idea of taking hold of this implies that there should be an action on our part.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. You could put that down. And then, anybody notice another, besides kind of the rich words, anybody notice another short little list? How so?
Everything is, all the rich is being compared to the treasure that is being stored for them. The other ones are inconsequential, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're worldly, they're wealth, but the real treasure is the future, which is getting to heaven.
Absolutely. Yeah. That would kind of go with, woo. Maybe you could connect those, right? What's the other list in here? Do you see it? It's good. Good, you have, I'm running out of colors. Let's just do, well, just mark it on yours. Good, good, and good foundation. See, that's another observation that you could mark. A list. Good. Times 3. Yeah. Yeah, good catch. One more biggie. There you go. So that. Really big. So that. What does a so that tell us? A desired outcome, or the reason, or the why to it all. Make sense? These right here, just telling you, these little words right here, when you see those, pay attention to them, because they give you the contrast and they give you the reason why also, okay? And that kind of helps solidify what the point of this is, okay? So that's, buts, fors, because, yeah, we'll get to those later.
When it says storing up for themselves, he's not talking, he's saying so they can have the treasure of the foundation instead of storing up for themselves like they're hoarding.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
what he's saying.
Yeah, your first one. Yeah. It's not a hoard thing. No. Okay. So, that's what we have. All right? Now let's keep kind of working through this. All right, you've got the word but as the contrast. On God is where they should have their hope fixed. The be rich in good works, okay? The several commands that we had, right? One was set their hope on God. That's command number 1. Set their hope on God. Command number 2 is do good. Command 3 is be rich in good works. Command number 4. Did we have 5? Why did I say 4? Huh. I just noticed that. Well, there's 5. Looky there. See what happens when you go too fast? Be generous and be ready to share are the other commands. Okay? Now, here's where getting into a little bit of Greek can greatly help you. Okay? I'm not saying you got to know it, but if you know some stuff and you maybe have a Greek dictionary, otherwise known as a lexicon, Greek lexicon, sitting beside you, this can help. So you got it has to do with the word good that's used 3 times, okay? Good. Well, the first good, so it's in verse 18 twice and in verse 19 once. The first good, right up here, okay, for do good, sounds rather general. But honestly, when you start looking at the Greek, it's this word agatho, ergeo. Agatho, and ergeo. Those are actually two words, but they're smashed together. Okay? So, agatho ergeo is a word from agathos. Agathos is one Greek word for the word, or for what gets translated good. Agathos. Okay? And but what it means is, but it's more along the lines of like a high quality or standard. Okay? So, or it means good, like morally good. It means good in character, good because it is beneficial also. That's agathos. This is the word that's used for the first good that you see in verse 18. Okay? So, the other word that goes with that is the word ergon, or ergon, however you pronounce your O's in Greek, or your omegas. Which that word, ergon, is the word, it means work. It means deed. It means action or activity. Okay? So, agathos, ergon. I'm getting mixed up now. Agatho, ergeo. That's the word. All right? So basically, what that word means is, or meaning is doing morally good things, okay, for people that actually helps them and actually benefits them. That's the word that he uses. Okay, now the second word, all right, so you have, let's just draw that down here. Agathos. And you had ergon. And then the second word down in, or the second word that you see in verse 18 for good and 19 is this word, kalos. That's the other word for good. Okay, now kalos means good in the sense of how it appears or how it is perceived. Okay? So it could be good in appearance. It could mean good as in beautiful, attractive. But it can also mean noble. It can mean it's something that is admirable. It's honorable. It is commendable. Good.
Do you notice because of the words that follow, each time it says good?
No, I'm just looking at the word.
Kind of good because the words that follow, like good foundation, would be different than good works. So you know.
Not necessarily. I'm specifically looking at the Greek words and what they mean for that.
It says good. It's the same word. It's good. How do you know it's a different meaning?
Because they're different Greek words. The first good is the agatho ergeo word. That's the first good in the Greek. It's translated.
But can't you, when you're reading this, even though it's good each time, this is good works, this is good foundation, so that would make you think that's a different kind of good.
Well, maybe, but what I'm saying is you're not going to get the full understanding. Our English translations sometimes just don't do it for us. And that's what I'm saying. If you have the means to look a little bit deeper into like a Greek dictionary or something, and you can see these words that are actually used, because in the Greek, you wouldn't see good, good, good. You would see agatho, ergeo, kalos, kalos. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but the way I read it, I would think that a good works would be different than a good foundation. One would be you're doing
Sure.
good, the other would be a nice foundation. So we have a different.
Yeah, which, again, kalos can mean different things. You got one word, but it has multiple meanings. Okay? It can mean beautiful, it can mean attractive, but it can also mean commendable and noble. Does that make sense? All right. So, good question though. I mean, this is confusing. Okay, I understand. It's not necessarily that easy to grasp with it when you start getting into Greek and all that. Okay? So, command them not just to do good, Timothy, but good things with their money that actually helps people out. Helping them with some sort of relief in their life. That's what he's talking about. Okay, so, I don't know. Fill in the blank. There's a medical emergency. They want to take care of a student who's going through school and pay for their books that they can't pay for or something. Good things, morally good things that really do help people out. Okay? Loaning them a car. Absolutely. I mean, apply it to what just happened to Joe and them. Yeah. Okay? Now, here he's talking about, specific group of people, but anyway. But yeah, I mean, if you have means, maybe look at helping them out. So, in doing all of those things, what are they accomplishing? And we've already said it. Yeah. They're laying for themselves a good foundation for the future. That's what they're accomplishing by doing all of those things. So, again, the eternal implications, Doug, that could be brought into the discussion. Okay? What's the next thing that you see in verse 19? Well, it's with the so that, okay, in which we already said. So, it gives us the reason for it all, so that they may take hold of that which is life indeed, or the ESV has truly life. And that true life consists of doing things that are good. Okay? True life consists of being rich in good works. It consists of being generous, and it consists of being ready to share with people. True life consists of building this as your proper foundation. Sometimes rich people have a harder time understanding or seeing what true life is all about. Okay? So Paul says, Timothy, remind them then, command them where true life really lies. Okay? It is in these things. Now, all right, so that's kind of the gist of that passage there. But after you do this, I mean, we barely even got into the application part. So if you're studying on your own, you could tell off on a host of what things of doing good could be, or a host of things of what rich in good works could be, and generous. That ready to share, I parked on that this morning for a little bit. Ready to share, I mean, you could apply that. Maybe budgeting, being ready to share something, right? Planning might go into that. You could talk about that. I mean, all that is right here. It's right here. And you could talk about that. And you could think about that even in your personal study, or if you ever build this as a lesson. But the so that is key, because doing all of that stuff really is what a godly life is all about for a rich person to be and do. Yeah?
Do you think the good foundation for the future and the life indeed is the same thing, or is it different?
I think it was...
Could it be the future?
I think it's both. I think it could be both.
Future could be, you're going to go through the rest of this life knowing the proper place of money. It's a necessary thing to get through life, and not to be hoarded. And that's your foundation for living going on. And then the second one is obviously eternal life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could definitely say that.
There's another thing in there too, the reason for all of these verses right here is that for people that are really, really rich, a lot of these things are real hard.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy to do any of those things.
Not natural.
No, natural. Yeah, maybe we would say that. Okay, so now man. Okay. I want you to know that the bulk of this class, I want you guys to, the practice sessions really is what makes this class, okay? So I have some stuff here, but what we're doing, like all that practical work, that's really the gist of the class. And I want us to practice that. So I don't want you to feel like that's a waste of time, okay? Or like, we got to get to the PowerPoint. Like, that, we've got stuff. I've got stuff prepared, yes. But I want us to practice that stuff. That's what this is all about. You getting practice and learning how to do this on your own. All right? So anyway, but moving forward with some of what we have. So to, I guess, kind of wrap up what that passage is, man. Anyway, I think you understand what the passage is saying. Basically, God is trying to say, Timothy, or Paul is writing to Timothy, look, make sure these people have the right perspective on their riches. Make sure that they don't have their hope in the things that are uncertain, like their riches, right? And the things that are perishable and all of those things. You command them, Timothy, to have their hope set on God, who richly supplies what they have to enjoy, but then make sure that they start sharing and being generous with that money. I mean, I don't know how much they had, but you know, that's where the true life is really at. Being generous, sharing, being ready to share, doing good works, right? Helping people, legitimately helping people out because they have so much. That's what he's saying, okay? So when you look at something like that, I mean, just understand, look what we did, right? We exegeted the passage. That's just what we did. I didn't need a commentary to do that. I didn't need a commentary to do that. I didn't have to go anywhere outside of those 3 verses right there to determine what in the world Paul is actually saying. Okay? You just have to practice it. That's the key. You just got to practice this stuff, all right? That was all pulled out of 3 verses. We read it, we analyzed it, spent time with it, made observations, picked out words, asked questions. We didn't need any other help, outside help. We didn't insert anything into it that wasn't there already. We pulled it right out. Okay? Made a little bit of application, though you could do more. You could certainly always make more application. All right? So that's what we did. We exegeted the passage. And I feel like we have a pretty good understanding now of how God views things for rich people and what he expects them to do. All right? So anyway, let's hit this just for a sec. This was not my breakdown. This is somebody else's, but you could see, if you wanted to kind of outline it, the rich man's focus, the rich man's fruit, the rich man's future. Nice and neat outlines like that help. That's more of a preacher thing, but you could still do it like that. But anyway, again, that's not original to me. I didn't do that. So one of my instructors did that. So here's something we can start talking about, though. What to do when we first approach a text. Okay? First thing, realize that this is nothing new. This is nothing new, necessarily, for what you're doing. We need to recognize that this method of study is very similar to things that we do every single day. Okay? Every single day that we, have conversations and all that. So don't let it scare you, this methodology of study and all that. Don't let it scare you. Don't think that you can't do it, because you already do it every single day. All right? What I mean by that is we understand that for there to be communication between 2 people, all right, we have to understand some things. There does have to be understanding to begin with. You have to analyze what a person is saying, right? You have to dissect whether or not what they are saying is a question. Was it a statement? Right? You have to figure out if the person is using figurative language or are they actually being serious. When you're talking to people, maybe they're just being funny. Okay? Or they're making a joke or tongue-in-cheek or whatever. Okay? You've got to understand the tones in which people are talking in. How did they say that? Did they sound kind of rude about it, or maybe not. You know, were they sarcastic in what they said, or were they really sincere? Were they genuine in what they were saying? All that stuff we already do, and you do it really fast. We're good at that. Okay, every single day we're good at that. Okay, the challenge is trying to do that and figure it out as we're reading something. That's the challenge. Okay, now translations sometimes help because it puts punctuation and all those things in there, but we still don't really know how Jesus may have said something, or the tone that he used. You know, I think some people like to think that he just soft little voice, just like this, you know. And no, Jesus was a man, and he worked with rocks and wood and all of that, and he was a man's man. And I guarantee you, when he was giving it to the Pharisees, they probably didn't sound like that. But anyway, I digress. I don't understand people sometimes. Anyway, so just recognize that when you start getting into some of this stuff, it's not hard. Like I said, practice. You just practice it, okay? Whenever I first looked at this at school, I was kind of frustrated. Number one, because I was like, why do I need to do this? I just read the thing. Just read it. I mean, I feel like I got pretty good reading comprehension. Just read what's there, and you can get it. Well, the more I looked at it and the more I started looking at this, I was like, oh, yeah, maybe not. Maybe it is a good thing to do. But it's not necessarily hard. I struggled with it a little bit at first, just seeing different things. But as you look at your Bible and you look at passages and stuff, you'll start to see words. You'll start to see little phrases. You'll start to see the contrast. You'll start to see the so-that's, the lists that are built in. Okay? It's just like anything else, just repetition and looking at it. But it demands sitting down with your Bible, right? It demands sitting down with your Bible and studying your Bible and looking at it for more than 15 minutes a day and actually studying and not just reading. Anyway, so that'll be that, and we'll continue next week.